Welcome to Joe Stunner Boxing. The WBO have ordered that Oleksandr Usyk defend their version of the heavyweight title against Joseph Parker. They released a statement today saying the WBO has officially ordered negotiations for the mandatory heavyweight title bout between Oleksandr Usyk and Joseph Parker. Both parties have 30 days to reach an agreement, or the WBO will proceed to a purse bid. Let the countdown begin, says the WBO. Very dramatic. Okay, right. Now, I think there are very few people who would say Joseph Parker doesn't deserve a shot at all the marbles, all the belts. He was due to fight for the IBF belt against Daniel Dubois. Dubois pulled out at the 11th hour. So, of course, the thought was, okay, Joseph Parker, you can now fight for all the belts. You can have the winner of Usyk versus Dubois, the rematch, and of course that was Usyk. Not quite that simple, unfortunately, for Joseph. By the way, just as an aside, where does Ajit Kabayel fit into all this? He's another one who totally deserves a title shot. No one's even mentioned that, poor sod. And he very much deserves a title shot. But anyway, we'll concentrate on Parker for the time being. Now, the problem here is that Turki Alalshikh has made it very clear that Riyadh Season and Ring Magazine are not interested in an Usyk-Parker contest. Why? Because ultimately Turki Alalshikh wants Usyk versus Fury 3. I can think of nothing duller than Usyk versus Fury 3. We've seen it twice. Fury was comprehensively beaten on both occasions. You can argue that it was reasonably competitive, but most of the rounds were won by Usyk. Fury has fought since the second defeat to Usyk. He talks a lot of shit about how, everyone knows I won those fights. No, we did actually see the fights, Tyson, and you lost them, mate. You lost both of them, okay? And you were just about knocked out in the first one. But, credit where it's due. You managed to get up and last the distance, but you lost both the fights. I don't want to see Usyk versus Fury 3. I mean, what has he done to deserve a third fight with Usyk? Absolutely nothing. Literally nothing. There hasn't a fight since. Joe Parker, who is Fury's friend, they're best buds, he deserves the shot for all four belts. And if it's not him, it should be Ajit Kabayel, okay? But Alalshikh wants a trilogy bout for Fury against Usyk at Wembley Stadium. And Warren, who he promotes Fury, he also is involved with Joe Parker as well. So he said, as a fan, I'd like to see the Joe Parker fight. Joe deserves it. He's on a run himself, a good run himself, similar to what Daniel was on. Fair point, okay. And that's the fight that's been ordered. So one way or another, it'll happen, or Joe will fight for a vacant title. So what is Warren saying there? What he's saying is that if a fight can't be made for Parker to fight Usyk, okay, it may be that Usyk will vacate the WBO belt. Joe Parker would step in and fight for the WBO belt, I don't know, maybe against Kabayel or whoever the hell. Don't forget, Warren has got a lot of these heavyweights. He signed up an awful lot of these heavyweights. But, Parker, you'll get a shot. There's a good boy. You'll get a shot. It'll be a vacant belt. You won't get the big career-defining, shot and payday for all the marbles. But, here comes Tyson. He's done fuck all to deserve a third fight with Usyk. But that's the bigger fight. And that's the fight that the Excellent Turkey wants, And of course, I secretly want it too. But I'm not going to tell you that, Joe, because, I'm kind of involved with promoting you as well. But, it's the usual bullshit politics. Of course, as I say, I want Parker to have that shot. Failing Parker, I want Kabayel to have the shot. If Fury wants to maneuver himself into a mandatory position, certainly, but even if he wants to put himself back in the mix, for me, he's got to beat someone legitimate like Parker, like Kabayel, or I don't know, maybe if he came back and just fought a Dubois or I don't know, Frank Sanchez or Jared Anderson or anyone. I mean, I'm putting names out of the air here, but anyone. You've got to beat someone to get a third shot against a guy who's already done you twice. You've retired. You didn't retire as, what do they call it? The WBC champion emeritus, or, you didn't. There was no interim belt needed. It's not like you retired due to injury. Not like when Vitaly Klitschko retired and then came back and fought Samuel Peter for the WBC title and won it off Peter. So there was none of that. You retired, mate. You said I'm retired. Look at me. You posted stuff on Instagram, whatever it was. Look, I'm enjoying my retirement. Look at all this beautiful scenery. Look at all the money I've got. All right, that's fine. You're entitled to do what you like. But I don't accept that you can just waltz back in ahead of people who, meanwhile, have been fighting legitimate contests, really tough contests. And I include Dubois in this as well. Dubois had 3 great wins after being knocked out by Usyk the first time. All right, he's been knocked flat again, but that's Usyk for you. I just don't get it. It will be shameful, absolutely shameful, if this is allowed to happen. And Turki Alalshikh, who, I gave him a little bit of praise the other week for saying that there will be no more pay-per-views on Riyadh season and Ring magazine cards. I don't know whether he's backtracking over that. I get the feeling he is. There's talk of some sort of subscription, within the DAZN model. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. But Alalshikh, no. Look, if he goes after this, if he insists on this, a trilogy fight at Wembley Stadium between Usyk and Fury, why? Why not put Usyk in with Joshua for a third time? I mean, why? Why would you? Oh, right. Fury went the distance with Usyk twice. So did Joshua. Now, okay, I know what you're going to say. Dubois knocked out Joshua, smashed him up. That's true. Fury has never been truly smashed up. Again, true. But is there really a great deal of difference between a trilogy with Joshua and a trilogy with Fury for Usyk? And if Usyk goes ahead with this, as much as I love Usyk and I've heaped praise on him, deservedly so, if he goes ahead with this, gives up the WBO belt and fights Fury for a third occasion, I'm going to be very, very disappointed in him. I don't want to hear any bullshit about, well, look at the money he's getting. He just got 120 fucking million for the Dubois rematch. How much money do people need? What on earth? Why should someone have 100 million quid? Why? What are they going to do with it? Buy a few islands? No, I'm going to be started on that shit again. But no, I don't want to see this. I want to see Parker getting his deserved shot at Usyk. Failing that, I want to see Ajit Kabayel getting his deserved shot at Usyk. I do not want to see Tyson Fury getting a completely undeserved third shot at Oleksandr Usyk. I've no interest in that fight anyway. I mean, I'll watch, to be honest with you, Usyk's so brilliant, I'll watch him any day of the week. But I would expect him to beat Fury again. The whole thing smacks of a circus. It smacks of, there's almost an element of, I mean, this is probably maybe a little unkind, but, Mayweather towards the end of his career when he was just, picking opponents he knew he could smash up. And I love Usyk, but, fights, cement your legacy by bowing out. If you're don't want to quit now, bow out with a fight against a legitimate new opponent, because that will deepen your resume. A win over Parker or Kabayel, or maybe both before you retire, would deepen your heavyweight resume. Because at the moment you fought Joshua twice, 2 wins, Fury twice, 2 wins, Dubois twice, 2 wins. But if you add, and Derek Chisora, not a bad little win, Chaz Witherspoon with the other one, that's only 5 heavyweights you fought. And all right, you've beaten 3 very good heavyweights twice, but deepen that resume a little bit, and then, your legacy will grow. But hey, I suppose you could argue that Usyk has been so brilliant, he has earned the right to do what he wants to do. But I don't know, how do you feel about it? What do you feel? I know a lot of you support Parker. I know a lot of you like you know, you don't want Caballero to be forgotten, neither do I. But let me know who you'd have him pick next. And what do you think of Usyk Fury 3? Are you as sort of turned off by it as I am? Maybe you are, maybe you're not. Leave your comments below anyway. And thanks for listening. Please like this video if you liked it. They count the likes. I don't know why, but they do. And also subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I always appreciate the support. Bye for now.